In the previous lesson, we went through steps 1 and 2, both of which have to be accomplished during the pre-processing of the reason for absence column. While doing that, you may have wondered why we keep the reason columns variable as a detached, separate object from our main data frame, which is df. If that was the case, then your intuition was right. As a matter of fact, we should combine the two objects. Let's move on to doing that. Step 3. Concatenate. I'll check the current state of df. There's no sign of a reason for absence, so what we want to do is add the newly created reason type columns to this data frame. The pandas concatenation function will do the job. To the existing df, we will assign pd.concat, which is short for concatenate, and then enlist the objects we'd like to appear here. df, reason types 1, 2, 3, and 4. Finally, since you want to combine objects horizontally, don't forget to add axis equals 1. If you skip this part, the data from the reason type columns will be added to the table in a wrong way. Therefore, having written the code correctly, let's run it and see the content of the df data frame. Awesome! The 4 columns have been added to the right side of our table. Basically, we are done manipulating the information we had about reason for absence. So many words were necessary to analyze only one of the columns in our data frame. Did you expect that? Apparently, sometimes there can be multiple perspectives from which one could look at a particular column. And that's the case we had here. Nevertheless, we are glad the given dataset provided the grounds for discussing such a multi-dimensional problem. Before we move on to analyzing the next column in our data frame, let me show you a couple of important data preprocessing techniques. First, leaving the columns named as 0, 1, 2, and 3 would be strange, right? These 4 digits convey nothing to the audience, so naturally, we would like to assign column names in a more meaningful way. There are a few ways to do this, and here's the one we prefer. .columns.values will retrieve a list with the column names for you. What we want to do is create a new list and assign its elements as the column names of df. Here's how we can achieve this. We'll create a variable called column_names, and we'll initially assign to it the list just obtained. Hence, I can copy and paste it here. Then, I'll rename the last 4 columns to reason 1, 2, 3, and 4, respectively. Execute the cell to create the list. Great! To assign it to the columns of our data frame, we need to type df.columns equals and then place the name of the newly created list, column_names. Now, we have to check the content of df. By the way, it is not necessary to display it in its entirety anymore, as we are done with the analysis of the initial state of the data frame. The head function will display the top 5 rows of our data table, together with the relevant column names, and the latter is what we are interested in here. The column names are just the same as the ones we have in the column names list. Perfect! This will do for now. In the next lecture, we'll look into another interesting technique. Thanks for watching.